All right, welcome back. We continue live right here, Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani, Chris Mueller with you. Remember, it is Super Bowl week. We have a lot of coverage all week leading up to the big game, which you will watch on KDKA TV. We also have a tweet in here, Chris. This comes from Mojo, who says, NHL point system is a joke. Everyone is above 500. Every team gets a trophy. Pens 4 points behind Caps, which is ridiculous. Well, I tend to agree with that. I've long said that I don't like points going to losers. I don't care how they lose. I think if you win, you get 2. If you lose, you get none. And that includes overtime. Your take on that?
Yeah, I hate it. It's a loser point. It also results in the NHL trying to pass off like teams that get a loser point as not having, I don't know, like an 8-game losing streak if they're 0-5-3 or something like that. They lost all 8 games. I don't want them to get a point. You know what this really hurts is better hope that the Penguins don't have multiple regulation losses in a row, because I think it really hurts the teams that are maybe just out of a playoff spot. They're close, but not close enough. It's tough to make up ground. I mean, you could beat a team and beat them in overtime, and then you've made up a whopping 1 point. Where's the effort there?
Right.
So I don't like it at all. I just wish it was 2 points. You know what I actually would be fine with, and this isn't popular anymore because we all need finality in these games and everyone loves the shootout. Why can't we just have ties? Play a 5-minute 4-on-4 overtime, and then if it ends in a tie, it ends in a tie, and everybody gets 1. What is so hard about that? I don't understand it.
The only thing is I love 3-on-3 hockey, and I think that's the best thing the NHL ever did, and I'm not willing to give that up. But I understand what you're saying. I like 3-on-3 hockey. I love to watch a team out of gas like the other night. The Rangers couldn't get to the bench, and they paid the price for it. It's possession. So anyway, we got a lot of calls and a lot of different topics here too, Chris. Let's go to JB, line 3, and he's up first. What's up, JB? How you doing?
Hello?
Yes, you're on, JB. Go ahead.
Okay, so this idea actually, my sister lives in Colorado. She watches every Penguin game religiously. Very astute girl says that they need to sit Malkin down, bench him. He's costing us games right now the way he's playing. What do you think?
Well, first of all, they're not going to do it just because he is one of their premier guys. But something has to happen with him. He's in one of these funks again. You know, I was watching last night, Chris, and even though Edmonton is under 500, which is hard for me to explain with Draisaitl and McDavid doing what they're doing, and he has 22 points in 11 games. Malkin had his 5th point tonight, and this is game 11. You expect more out of him. That's what he's there to do. And he goes through these streaks where he's almost invisible, and if he's not going to produce on the power play and not even give himself opportunities by overpassing, then something has to happen, but they're not going to sit him. What should they do?
Well, they're not, but you know what? As much as I would normally dismiss the idea out of hand, I think in a normal 82-game season, one, you wouldn't be as alarmed because things wouldn't be as condensed. But if this had lingered longer, I think it would be one of those times where you could sit him down for a game, maybe 2, and say he needs a breather. Just come up with an excuse, right? Like some short break for him to try to get him right. But they're so injured. The season is so condensed. They don't have any choice but to keep running him out there and hope that he snaps himself out of it. And if he doesn't do it soon, they are going to be in big trouble because they're going to have more and more games pile up like this one tonight where they're not even able to get the coveted loser point out of it.
Here's the other thing, Chris, and even though Evgeny Malkin still, when he's on his game, is a very, very good player in the NHL, here he is at mid-30s now approaching. And if there was ever a good time to trade him, it probably would have been a couple of years ago if you're looking for a huge return. Now, he has veto power, but if he didn't, what would be your thoughts about a return? What would you get for Evgeny Malkin right now?
It's hard for me to project that just because he's only got 1 more year left after this. I mean, how valuable is he to another team? And what do they think they're getting back? Are they getting the guy that until the pandemic hit last year was the best player on the roster, better even than Crosby in just about every way? Or are they getting the guy that since they returned from the pandemic against Montreal and then into this season has been a massive disappointment? I think there's a little bit of concern from any potential trade partner about his age, about this sudden downturn. I don't think the return would be nearly good enough to do it. You'd be trading him at the absolute low point of his value right now.
And that's the point. That's where it is right now. So it would be tough to get out of that. Let's go out to Mount Washington. We got John joining us on the line. Hey, John, what's up?
Hi, guys. Evening.
Hi.
The Natalie-clad Chris Mueller, I like it. And Bob, you ain't so bad yourself.
Well, he's got that clothing company
I'm gonna
sponsoring him. You know, I don't have that such deal.
I want to change this up. I guess the Penguins could use the break. Everybody injured with the COVID thing. That's one way to look at it. But we don't have anything to watch. for the rest of the week, except I want to alert you guys about Duquesne. They're opening their new digs tomorrow night. It's on ESPNU. Did you guys get the tour today?
Yeah, they actually moved that to ESPN2 now, you know.
Yeah,
the Deuce.
The Deuce.
Look, yeah.
Well, you know what?
guys
Rich
get the
Rich
tour
Walsh
today?
was up there, and it looks really good. They put $45 million into it, and the crime of it is, Chris, nobody can go. So,
Aw.
yeah, you have to
I
tune
mean,
into
I
11
love
to see.
basketball. Yeah, I love basketball, and I love like the local smaller stuff. I mean, before all this started with the pandemic, I was looking forward to taking my little guy and starting to try to get him to these college games like Robert Morris and Duquesne, where you can get up close and you can watch the game at a different kind of level. So I'm excited when people can get back in there. Actually, You're talking to a very receptive audience, let's put it that way, for those intimate college basketball venues. That's one of my favorite dynamics in all of sports. And so I hope Duquesne's actually able to show that off to the public in a real way sooner rather than later.
Yeah, me too. And little Lennox will like it. He'll get fascinated by it, I'm sure. And then you can start real quick, get a ball in his hand or whatever you want to do, because that's how it is these days.
If it's not Blippy in my house, it doesn't matter, man. I can't stand that Blippy guy. I mean, I'm sorry. The only orange and blue I want him cheering for is if he decides he likes the Florida Gators or the Edmonton Oilers. Enough of this Blippy.
Well, get a golf club in
Anyway.
his hand too. You know, that's believe me, that's the best way to go. Even if your name is Patrick Reed. All right, Dave joins us right now on line 3. Hey, Dave. Oh, Dave's not there. Let's go to Dan, South Fayette. What's up, Dan?
Yeah, I just like a quick question about Mike Tomlin. Have you ever been in the locker room with him? What's his pep talk, like at halftime or before the game?
We're not in
'Cause, you
there.
know, his interviews, I don't understand what he says after the game interviews. But have any of you guys been in the locker room when they're down? Has Tomlin do a pep talk?
No. We're not. No one's allowed in there.
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say to that? I think the caller right there should give the pep talks. I think that would be the kind of thing that would ignite a fire under these guys if they're down 13 at the half. I don't know. I think this pep talk nonsense is like the most overrated thing ever. They go in there and good coaches try to make adjustments, which if I was going to levy a criticism against Mike Tomlin for his in-game, besides like the in-game stuff, it's that too infrequently the Steelers end up actually making productive adjustments. They did it once against Houston this past year, and then the second half, they completely shut down the vaunted Deshaun Watson. But I don't know about you, Bob. I think stuff like that happens too infrequently for my liking. Like, they don't seem to be able to get an edge on teams with whatever they do while they're in there at halftime.
No, I agree, and that's a big part of it, especially early in the third quarter when you come out of that locker room. All right, we have time now for our Tri-State Office Furniture Tweet of the Day, Chris, and here it is. This is actually very interesting because it was back and forth between hockey clubs. Carolina Hurricanes, after the Penguins tweeted the reverse retro sweaters, which they put on display tonight, Carolina goes, bold move, wearing those against the inventors of the diagonal uniforms. To which the Penguins then responded, bold move to steal the Quiznos logo, which I thought was pretty good. But that's what happens now. It's getting pretty sensitive out there when the
They
actual
don't pay
teams.
these social media people enough. They don't pay the social media people enough because some of them are actually pretty good at this stuff. They're
very good.
They're all, by the way, following in the footsteps of the original LA Kings Twitter feed, which is still the GOAT when it comes to team
They've
social
had some
media.
pretty good stuff out there. They're always on the lookout for attack mode. We're going to take a break, come back with more calls. It's 412-575-2600. We're right here live, Pittsburgh CW on NSC, the Nightly Sports Call.